Hi, I'm Scotty. If you want to learn how to service and repair antique mechanical clocks, then subscribe to my channel. Welcome to Scotty's Clock World. This is a movement from an Ansonia kitchen clock that a woman has brought in for repair. She passed it off to someone else who said he could do it very cheaply, and he made a real mess of it, as you can see. First up, he's got electrical cable ties on the mainsprings. I don't know why he has done that. It may be because he's broken the springs and he doesn't want them poking out the side. Look at the terrible angle on the suspension spring there, completely bent over. We'll have to replace that before we put the movement back together again. Also, the count lever keeps working, and you can see the hammer striking because the warning wheel has not been arrested by the lifting lever. It just continues running. Obviously, the lifting lever has not been set up correctly. As you can see there, this next one is a deep hole. It should stop it. It drops in, comes out, drops in the next deep hole, and just keeps going. That's the lever that should be dropping on the warning wheel and stopping the count lever and count wheel turning, but it isn't. All right, we'll have a look at this further and see what we can find. We'll put it on our block. The first thing we'll do is we'll have a look at the mainsprings. I'll take out a let-down tool out of the box. And we'll use that to let the springs down. That's a let-down tool there. Incorrect size attachment on it. I think that was a number 8. This winding arbor is a number 6. Yep, that's the one that fits. So we'll put it into the let-down tool. Put it onto the winding arbor. What we're going to do is we're going to tighten up the spring a little bit so that we can remove the cable tie that's this other guy's put on it, so we can see what condition the spring is in. Right, that's the clip that we're going to push back. We tighten the let-down tool a little bit, hold the click out of the way with a screwdriver, and let the let-down tool run around slowly in your hands till all the pressure has gone out of the spring. Remove the let-down tool. Find my multi-key and tighten the mainspring up. Another couple of turns. Check the electrical cable tie again. Now get a pair of cutters and I'll cut the electrical cable tie off. It's still a little bit tight. Better wind it up another couple of turns. Right. We'll cut it off now. Then we'll let down the spring and then we can see if there's any breaks in it or not. Okay, that's got him. Now I'll remove the electrical cable tie. Cutters aside. Once again, let down tool on the winding arbor. Screwdriver in behind the click and slowly let the spring wind down fully. Later on we'll put a clamp on it to hold it when we tighten it up, but at the moment we're just looking to see if the spring is broken or not. Turn the movement over, have a look. No, they all seem to be alright. I can't see a break in there. There's still tension on the spring. So I don't know why he put the electrical cable tie on it. Right, now we'll do the other side. Take up the let-down tool again. We'll put it in the strike side this time. Hammer's still working away there madly. Okay, back on the block. Select the right key. Wind up the mainspring a little bit further. Turn it round. Tighten the spring down. So the electrical cable tie is a little bit looser. Make it easier for us to remove it. Clip it off. There it goes. Remove the tie. You can see that the count lever is still working. Deep hole, missing it again, still going. Anyway, we'll solve that later. In the meantime, we want to check and see if the strike side mainspring has been damaged or not, whether it's broken. So we'll tighten up the spring again for the moment, put our screwdriver into the click and let the mainspring unwind fully. Alright, now we can see it. No, seems to be okay, no breaks in there, still tension on the spring. So, we still don't know why he put those electrical cable ties on. Now we'll remove that horribly bent suspension spring. Take a pair of pliers. Unwind the taper pin. Actually, it's in pretty poor condition. I'll just cut it off. I'll make a new one to put on when we reassemble it. Clip it off. Pull the other end out with the pliers. Take it out of the bottom of the crutch. We can have a good look at it. Wow, isn't that pretty cool? That is really the way to look after a clock movement, doing things like that to it. We'll have to replace that completely. We won't be able to straighten that out again and use it. Put the pliers back. Now, we'll take out our mainspring clamps because we're now going to wind the springs up, put mainspring clamps on them in preparation for taking the movement apart. First up, I'll check this clamp. It's about the right size. Turn the movement over. Take up my multi-key again and wind the mainspring up tightly, not fully wound, but tightly enough that we can just slide the clamp over the top of it. And then we'll let it down onto the clamp to contain all the tension in the spring. Turn the movement over, take the clamp out again. Check to see if it's going to fit. Yep, it's going to fit all right. Well, we need another couple of turns on the winding arbor first to tighten the spring down a little bit. That's heaps. That should do it. Now back to the mainspring clamp again. Try it again. Yes, that's going to fit. We'll just press that down over the top of the spring. Quite loose, it'll sit there and slide down. So now we'll start to take some tension out of the spring, winding it up a little bit, using the screwdriver in the click. We'll unwind the spring a bit. You'll notice that the clamp has now got tighter. So we push the clamp into the center of the spring. Turn it over, back on our work block. Let down tool again, over the winding arbor, screwdriver into the click, and let it wind down slowly until all the pressure is taken by the mainspring clamp. Right, we'll repeat the process for the other side. We've done the going side, we'll now do the strike side. Wind up the mainspring till it's quite tight, but not fully tight. Now find a mainspring clamp that's going to fit. Test it. Needs a little bit more winding. The clamp won't fit on at the moment. So another couple of turns will probably solve that problem. Yeah, there's still movement in the mainspring then, it's spinning relatively freely. Test the clip again. Push it down over the mainspring. Another turn or two, it's not quite there yet. That should be it by now, surely. Yep, there we go. The clamp has fallen down to the bottom. So once again, let down tool over the winding arbor, screwdriver into the click, and allow spring to wind down just a little bit, because we've got to make sure that the clamp is going to sit on there. And it appears it is, so once again, line it up in the middle of the spring. Let down tool again, and we'll let all the tension out this time so that it's all taken by the mainspring clamp. There we have it. Both springs have been clamped. Yes, that looks all right. Put away the let down tool. Clear the bench up a little bit more space to work with. Now take the movement up. We're going to remove the fast slow adjustment on the back of the clock. That's that piece there. It's wound up and adjusted. The end of that rod there sticks out through the face of the clock, and you use this special set of very small keys to wind it up. backwards or forwards, fast or slow. As you can see, when I turn that, the gear on the top moves, and that lifts or lowers the pendulum relative to where it was before, thus making it slower or faster. Screwdriver into the screw. We'll take the first one out, put it aside into our little container. Then the second screw. And take the adjustment off, put it in there also. Put it aside. Now take the gear out on the end of that arbor. There we go. Got him. Put that aside. Quick check to make sure everything else is still in place. Alright, that looks pretty good. Doesn't seem to be much pressure on the wheels now that we've contained the mainsprings. Right, put the movement back on our working block. Oh, actually, before we do that, we'll check to see where the springs are tied down. That's the spring for the hammer, and that's the spring for the lifting lever in there, as we'll see later on how you attach that, so that there's a little bit of positive pressure on the lifting lever so that it works correctly. Okay, put the movement back on our work block. Using our number 7 spanner, we'll loosen the nuts that hold the plates together, top and bottom, and then we can start to take the movement apart. Right, remove the nuts completely, remembering that there may still be a little bit of tension on some of the wheels, even though we've contained the springs. When we take the plate off, we don't want the wheels to jump out or possibly spin round and break a tooth off. So when we take the top plate off, we're always very careful that that doesn't happen. Lift it up a little bit on either end, one at a time. And this is never a fast job, it's always a slow job, and you can hear if there's any tension in the wheels or not. And this time there's none, absolutely none. Good. Turn the movement round. First thing that drops out is the hammer. The crutch is way up in the air, but we'll get that out in a second. Remove the top plate. Now pick up the crutch with the pallets and the verge, remove that. This is the list of names, the correct names for the parts, the working parts of the clock that you can see there. We'll try to take out the lift lever, but it's probably a bit tight under all those wheels, so we'll start off with the going side train. That's the escape wheel, comes out first. Stick it in our foam block. The third wheel. Then the second wheel. Oh, he's out. There we go. Now we'll take the mainspring out. That'll make it easier to get to the first wheel, which is buried underneath it. Here we go. There's the first wheel. Into our foam block. And put the mainspring over into our container marked going side train. There it is. Spin the movement round. Now we'll start to take the strike side pieces out. Better make another hole in my block to hold that wheel so it doesn't fall out. Good, that's got him. Now back to the movement. Warning wheel comes out first. You can see the two pins on it. I'll point them out with a pair of tweezers, one there, one for the hour strike and one for the half hour. Then the fly comes out easily. Put that at the top of the train. Next wheel, it's the second wheel, also known as the maintenance cam. And we'll see how that works properly once we start to put the movement back together again. Strike side mainspring. Put it into the container. Take out the first wheel. Into our block. Then we can easily remove the next piece, which is the lift lever. That lever there counts on the count wheel. That one there stops the maintenance cam from turning, and that lever there arrests one of those pins on the warning wheel. Next piece is to come out. I call the motion works. That piece there. Top piece there is a cannon arbor. As you can see, that's where the hour hand sits on that. The minute hand sits right on the end. Now we'll remove the count wheel. Got him out of the hole. He'll come out easily now. Take our retaining clip off and we'll take the count wheel out, but before you do, hold it up and look at the direction it's turning. You can see there's more slots in the wheel as we turn it round, and that is the direction that it has to go back in. If you put it in back to front, it's not going to work. Right, put that aside. That's the back plate.